The Minnesota State Fair is a lot of noise, a lot of people. For some people, a lot is just way too much. But this year, for the first time, the State Fair is taking steps to truly be the great Minnesota get-together for everyone. Is there someone in your family who feels overwhelmed by all the sights, sounds, and smells at the State Fair? This year, there's a less stimulating day just for them. Plan to visit on Monday, August 28th. On the Kidway from 9 to 11 and on the Mighty Midway from 10 to noon, lights and noises will be minimized. The flashing and beeping and loud music on the rides, games, and other attractions will be turned way down or turned off completely. Less will be more for those with sensory processing sensitivities. So get in on the fun at the State Fair. Moms, dads, caregivers, take note. That's Monday, August 28th from 9 to noon. See you there.
The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner. We're expanding our gigabits, so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
Hey, welcome back to the Financially Fit Podcast. I am your host, Andre Creighton. I want to thank you all for being here with me today. If you're new to the show, welcome. I hope that you find something fruitful to take away from this that will be able to help you in your journey to becoming financially fit. If you are a returner, I appreciate y'all, as I always say, for continuing to rock with me. And hopefully you all are gaining some knowledge to help you on your journey to becoming financially fit and building generational wealth. So as last week we talked a little bit about in celebration of Black Business Month, the things you need to do if you would like to start a business. As I mentioned in the last episode, I am an entrepreneur myself. As I always like to say, I'm a recovering tax accountant slash financial professional. I'm still in the finance realm as the CFO of the company I run. But beyond that, I'm able to do a lot of different things being an entrepreneur in the tech space. So it's cool to be able to do other things other than finance and really expand my knowledge into things that I might not have had the opportunity to do in my prior life. So as always, I love to, start with a story in my podcast, because I think it's important to be more personable and for people to really let people into your life. And I think that that's how you build an audience that's engaged. And I think that, there's a lot of people probably that can relate to some of the things that I've either experienced in my former life in my early 20s or that I'm experiencing now. Sorry about that if you heard my dog. I mentioned that I'm a recovering tax accountant. I spent a lot of my early 20s grinding up that corporate tax and private public accounting tax realm, just really, really kind of on the hamster wheel. But the really good thing about that was, though I was working, 70, 80, 90-hour weeks during busy season, it allowed me the ability to learn things a lot faster. So I worked at a pretty large firm that's called Baker Tilly in my early 20s, and I did everything from high net worth tax individuals to corporate tax to small SMB tax to nonprofit to gift tax to estate tax planning, et cetera, et cetera. And I could go on and on. But the key that I think helped me in my journey was when I was spending all that time doing taxes for, a lot of these high net worth individuals. We're talking about individuals that are making, at least 150, sometimes even, a few $1 million, right? Um, I got to see inside and under the hood what these individuals are doing on a yearly basis with their finances and their taxes, and how they're mitigating tax, and how they're using things that are beneficial to their to really put them in a cost savings um, arena, right? And I think that that's really important. So today, as we're building off our last subject matter around Black Business Month and why you should start a business, we're going to talk a little bit about the what the benefits are to starting that business, right? So I talked a little about cost savings, just in my experience seeing, a lot of high net worth individuals that own their own business. Now being a business owner, if you're a single member LLC or in a partnership, there's lots of different cost savings that you can take advantage of from a deduction standpoint, right? Such as deducting your cell phone, a portion of that. If you use your cell phone for business and personal use, you can deduct your monthly premiums that you pay to AT&T or Verizon or whoever your carrier is. A percent of that can be deducted based on what is the allocation or ratio of usage from personal versus business. The other thing is, we live now in a society where working from home is pretty normal. Matter of fact, a lot of places have gone fully remote. Some are hybrid, and I know some people are having to go back to the office now. But for the most part, a lot of businesses have gone completely remote or hybrid, and I foresee that being kind of the pathway forward for the foreseeable future. So, if you own your own business and you work from home, say you have a 100 square foot office, right? And let's say that's 10% of the square footage of your home. You can deduct 10% of all of your utilities on your tax return, right? It's a good way to save money on your energy bill and a lot of those things, your water bill, things that you might use. Or things that you will absolutely pay regardless, you can now take those deductions if you have a home office, and you're taking that allocable percent of how big your home office is versus how big your entire unit is, or entire home. So that's very important. And think about those things. Obviously, your auto, if you travel for work, so say you're an independent consultant, and say that you are traveling to and from various businesses, and businesses are paying you to your LLC, you can deduct the miles that are for business related activity. So once again, it's going to take that allocation of what your personal mileage is, so what you're driving for leisure versus what you're driving for business, and then that's the amount that you'll be able to deduct based on the standard mileage rate for taxes. The last one that I want to touch on that I think is super important is, enough people don't take advantage of this, and I think part of it is because a lot of people don't know. So I discovered this after seeing it over and over again on these tax returns that I was doing. Individuals adding their children to the payroll of their company. So let's think about that for a second. Let's unpack it. Individuals, business owners, adding their children to payroll to pay them. And why might you might ask yourself, well, why might they do that, right? Well, the reason why they're doing that is in 2023, if you paid your child less than $12,950, they could that would be tax free to them from a federal standpoint, and obviously it would reduce your tax rate and your tax impact because you would be able to get a deduction for that. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because how many of you give your kids an allowance, right? Your kids want to go to the movies, or they want to go skating, or they want to play AU basketball, or they want to do XYZ activity, right? Well, most times you're giving them money out of your pocket, right? I remember when I was a child or a teenager, I wasn't working until about 16 or 17. So before that, anything that I needed, I had to depend on my parents. So I go to my dad or my mom and say, "Hey, can I get $20? I want to go to the movies with my boys, or I want to go to the mall with my friends, right?" And they'd reach in their pocket and they give me 20, 30, $40, right? And we go to the mall, we have a great time, come back home. Well, the same is happening in this scenario, except for now, the individuals are able to deduct that money. So if an individual gives a kid, their kid $12,950 in a year, that's roughly a little over $1,000 a month that they're giving their kid, but it's tax deductible. So at the end of the day, you're saving yourself money, and money that you would have given them anyway. So as you're thinking about these things, I think it's important to really, really, really think about, what are the opportunities to cut costs? How does this holistically fit into my entire financial plan? And this is why it's important to have a tax accountant. I know a lot of people get a little weary and they say that, tax accounts are so expensive. Like, I don't want to pay the money for them, but the reality is we have to shift our mindset to stop thinking about paying a tax accountant being a fee and think of it as an investment, right? If you shift your mind to this is an investment, not a fee, then it's going to feel much better. And the reason why I say it's an investment is because if you do your due diligence and you say, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Accountant, uh, I'd love to sit down with you as you're doing my taxes and kind of learn, the ins and outs of what you're doing and some of the deductions that I'm getting and some of the opportunities later down the line. Here's the vision of where I'm going and the things that I want to do. I want to open up XYZ business in the next 2 years. What are some things that I should be thinking about from a deduction standpoint that may benefit me, right?" Um, that's the shift in mindset that we need to have as a society, is not just giving things to people and say, "Hey, you do it," and us not understanding what they're actually doing, right? That's that is the downfall to a lot of people's financial demise. So I would say that, you don't need to know these things in and out, but you definitely need to be able to look at a tax return and say, "Okay, this number makes sense. I knew that this accountant said that he was going to apply this deduction because of XYZ," right? So really take that time to sit down with a tax accountant, understand what's happening every single year, because you are going to file your tax return every single year. So why not invest and make sure that you're more educated? So hopefully maybe someday you can just do them, then you won't have to pay someone. So that initial investment may change the entire landscape of how your financial cost savings from a tax standpoint are applied on a year to year basis. So I want you just to keep that in mind. The last thing is the generational wealth thing, as far as when you start to build a business. A lot of people don't talk about how when you start a business as in your 20s or 30s, right, and it's going well, at some point you're going to get to a point where you're going to retire. And I think it's important to think about, is this something that can continue down the line for my family? Or is this something where we're going to sell and we're going to make lots of money off of it? And now I'm going to be able to build trust and wills and put them in my will for my family, or things like that. And I think that's the preparation that we need in this society, that we need, the mindset that we have to shift in order to truly, truly make that generational wealth impact. So, those are the things that I'm thinking about on a, fairly, I'd say quarterly basis, right? Just reevaluate my finances and where I'm going and some of the ideas I have, and being able to talk to my financial advisor, my tax advisor, and making sure that those things are aligned, right? And if there are gaps, understanding what are the gaps and how do I fix them, right? So I hope that you learned something here today. If you own a business and you're not taking advantage of these deductions, please do. And please get yourself a tax advisor at least for 1 year, so you can truly, truly understand the impacts and the cost savings that you could have, that you might not be taking advantage of today. So I'll end by saying it's Black Business Month. So if there is a Black business that you see in your area, in your community, please go out and support. There are tons and tons of Black businesses across the U.S. And I think it would be great for, the month of August to, disrupt spending money at some of these big corporations, your Amazons, your, places like that. Like really, really take some time and be thoughtful and trying to invest back into some of these Black businesses and small businesses at the end of the day. As I always say, it's not about how much money you make. The power is in how much money you keep. I really appreciate y'all rocking with me. See you next week.
Hi, I'm Shaletta Brundage. I'm a media personality, podcaster, and a business owner. But my most important role is mom. 3 of my beautiful kids have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. When I didn't know who to trust or where to turn, I found ACRA. ACRA provides home care services to families all over Minnesota. The care is not one size fits all. They know each one of my kids is unique. They listen to what resources we needed and what's best for our family. I've seen my kids grow and thrive with ACRA's in-home care. While autism is the most common diagnosis among ACRA clients, ACRA offers personalized in-home care services for people with disabilities, chronic illnesses, behavioral diagnosis, and mental illness. They work with children, adolescents, and older folks too. Find out more about ACRA at their website, acrahomecare.org. ACRA helps me provide my kids with a better quality of life. They can do it for your family too.
Your research is done and you've made the decision. You're ready to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Here are a few things to know before you go. Vaccinations in Minnesota are free, but bring health insurance information if you have it. It's okay if you don't have health insurance. You don't need it to get the vaccine. Bring your legal ID too, if you're comfortable sharing it. But a legal ID is not required for you to get the vaccine. When you get your shot, you'll get a card with information about your vaccine, or you can keep track on an app. It's easy to find the closest clinic or pharmacy where you can get your free vaccine. Go to vaccines.gov for your nearest location. That's vaccines.gov.
Children's Minnesota, the leader in specialized healthcare for kids, is here to raise awareness, standards, the bar, the stakes, the question, the curtain. On raising kids' health to the highest priority, kids need equal access to healthcare, more pediatric expertise, a voice for change. Kids need us, all of us. So let's raise them up. Children's Minnesota, the kid experts.
Summers are a great time to park it. So take time to make time in your glorious Minneapolis parks. Now when you enjoy your beaches and lakes, piers and playgrounds, trails and paths, you can also stroll through the Minneapolis park markets. Now through the end of August, there's a park market every Friday evening at Minnehaha Regional Park. And there's a park market every Sunday afternoon and evening at Lake Harriet. Meet local artisans and small business owners selling unique goods and handcrafted items created right here for you. And with every park market, there's always live local music too. August is Black Business Month, so be sure to support the park market vendors of color. Park markets. One more reason to park it in your Minneapolis parks. To find locations and hours, go to minneapolisparks.org, then click on Activities and Events and look for park markets.
Do you worry that lead-based paint in your older home might be dangerous to your children or kids who visit you? Well, Hennepin County put those fears to rest. Hennepin County offers free lead tests and home assessments. If they find anything, eligible homeowners and landlords can receive up to $15,000 for work on the home, including new windows. The government banned lead-based paint 45 years ago when it was discovered that lead poisoning can affect development and cause permanent damage in young children. But 75% of those homes built before 1978 still contain some lead-based paint. As the paint degrades, it can make dust that little kids ingest when they're crawling and putting things in their mouths. So make sure your home is safe and hazard-free. Learn about testing and that $15,000 grant at hennepin.us/lead control. That's hennepin.us/lead control.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.